Welcome to the Z Truth Podcast, where we have transparent, real, and thought-provoking conversations. Your host is Akira Casado, the author of 15 social media secrets that pay. So let's get real, get honest, and get started.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Z Truth Podcast, where we bring you transparent, relevant, unbiased, thought-provoking, and holistic topics. I'm Akira Casado. I'm here with another amazing show with my amazing co-host, guest host, Miss Jamie from the Sleuth. And join Jamie. How you doing, boo?
Well, how are you? But I have a question. I've been sitting here and I realized that you say this hello thing on everything that you've been doing from forever. Why?
Why do I say that's a good question?
Where did that come from?
You're about to see exactly how childlike I can be, but I don't know if you remember this show. But this is so funny. But you remember the dinosaurs where they got lost? And the Land Before Time. Yeah. And there's a little dinosaur. She goes, yup, yup, yup.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, Petrie or
Petrie,
something.
that's where I get it from.
Oh,
so because she repeat everything in 3, that's where I used to come up with my little things I would say to the kids or me, or just talking. And one day I just said hello. But I think I just introduced it to the new generation of kids.
Yeah.
And that's where it came from, like a decade ago, and I can't stop saying it.
Oh, I love it. That was the cutest character on Land Before Time.
Wasn't she? She's like, oh no. Yup. She's like, yup. She was always the bubbly one and try to make them to think positive, or, she always had her brother back who didn't even talk. Remember her brother was that big one. She always was on top of his head. And he would be like,
I think the Petrie is the only one I remember.
Yeah, you got to remember the long neck one.
Well, but I don't remember anything about it. I just know there was a bunch of dinosaurs.
Yup. That's where hello. Good question.
Hello.
Good question. Anyway, we're excited to be back. Yay. Happy New Year's to everybody. Woo! How was your New Year's? Let us know in the comments. We would love to hear what you did. And we're going to save that, what we did, at another time. Anyway, so our first transparent topic, and again, definitely shout out to the Sleuth. I already put it up there, but I want to say it. The Sleuth podcast.
What's a sleuth?
It's an investigator. I looked it up.
Okay,
I looked it up the other day because when I was typing it, and that's not the Sleuth thing, but join Jamie also. But I was looking for it in Instagram, and so then I was like, why does she name it this? And I know you told me already.
Yeah. And
then I went online and I looked it up, and I was like, oh, it's a detective, which makes sense, but I never understood why they have all these different names in the American language, but US language, English language.
They've got to be the craziest one, and we're the most complicated.
Oh,
but yeah, it's the
American.
Yeah.
You know why? Because of there. Right. That don't make sense.
Different spellings and
any does not make sense. As a kid, you could never, and no teacher could explain to me after you showed me how to write things and how this sound makes this sound, why any doesn't start with an E.
It's any. It's not any.
It's Annie.
Like anyway.
Anyway.
It's not anyway. Yeah, because if it was anyway, it would be in and
any piece of fruit.
It's any.
That's piece of fruit.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is our transparent moment. We bring you topics again, and our first one is transparent. The first one is, in past relationships, what is something that you,
common denominator,
you could have changed? Who wants to go first?
I don't want to go first.
I'll go first.
Right.
And this part is hard, y'all. This is a difficult, right? This is like very difficult, and I think there's even some scripture in the Bible that talks about being able to look within to know why that these things. What could I have done to be better in that aspect? So,
or the plank get the plank out of your own eye before you point out the sawdust in mine. I forget what that is.
I've never heard of that.
Oh yeah. I forget which Bible verse. I could look it up in a second. It's so cold in here.
But this right here, look, y'all. You see how you can point? I'm pointing at Jamie. But you see how many fingers are pointing back at me?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And your thumb, if you could bend it that way.
If I'm trying to shoot her,
right,
they definitely come back. But really, honestly, what are some things that you could have changed but for yourself? And for me, I'm gonna be honest. I personally believe there were a few things that I wouldn't do in the future, my future relationship, because I do believe I'm going to attract an amazing, sexy, chocolate husband that speaks like he's from English and he does cooking shows on TikTok.
He's on the American Baking Show.
An American Baking Show. Darling, here's your great coupons. And I'm like, hey, babe. I'm just kidding. I just kind of describe somebody who I like on, if I follow him, he's really awesome. But anyway, let me get back. Focus.
If you're listening.
Man, if you're listening, Lord Alex, you can get it. Anyway, so... No, not because he just fine, though, but he really has a good... You can feel people's spirits and, not everybody's spirit, because everybody believed that Derek Jackson and his crap, but he don't do that kind. He just gives inspiration. I hate him. I don't hate a lot of people.
Oh, don't hate him.
I don't hate him like with a passion. I just dislike what he did to that poor girl, but we won't get into that. I'm deflecting. Let me get back. Something that I could have done differently personally is when my significant other would say, let's talk about it later. I used to always want to talk about it now. Now, in some aspects, though, it was a way to not talk about it with one particular ex where, you keep having the same conversation over and over again because you haven't, done that. The second thing I will say that I wish I changed is not allow the relationship to get to a point where it was no salvaging the friendship.
Right.
Yeah, like
I believe in staying friends.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be that serious.
You don't have to be besties.
No, you don't have to talk every day, but to leave the situation where it's like, look, let's let bygones. Yeah, let bygones to be bygones. We don't have to hate each other, even if it got to a point of abuse. Which, look, let me say this. So I've had several abusive relationships. Okay. Mm-hmm. And one of them, the last one I was in, it became abusive. And then I had to take some responsibility in regards to how I view myself and what I allow. Because people only do to you what you allow them to do. And what happens is that you spend so much time focusing on, I can sit here right now and tell you all the bad things this person did to me, right? But at the same time, it doesn't allow you to ask yourself the very strong question of, what about me do I believe that says I deserve this? Where you didn't walk away the first time. Right. And so I realized after my third unhealthy relationship that the very first one actually structured my future in relationships. And I'm gonna just tell this story. I've never told this story before. I'll never forget. I was with their dad. Let's not throw him under the bus. We were very young. I have nothing but respect for him. He's my ace boom coon now. And we were just young. We were young. We had our first kid. I was 18. Zaire was 19. Mm-hmm. So we start thinking we were in a relationship at 17 years old. And it's like, you're too young to be thinking about a relationship that young, y'all. I'm just telling you, you got 1,000 other things to be worried about than a relationship. And so I'll never forget it. He was, we were out with his cousin, and his cousin was, they were like, I guess had a bet. He smacked the shit out of me for no reason. I was pissed. I was hitting him. Take me home. He took me home. He was like, you know what? If you don't want to be with me anymore, I understand. And he walked off, and he was walking out. And here I am, like I'm in a fucking, excuse my French, like I'm in a goddamn sitcom. No, come back. And I run back to him, give him a hug, and I accept him. But my life would have been like, I have had dreams about that moment through therapy where I know for a fact if I would have let him go, I would have been a different woman today.
Right.
I wouldn't had to gone through, I would have never attracted the next guy. I would have never attracted the next guy. I would have never attracted anybody else to be abusive, because in that moment, I was only 17, 18 years old. I didn't realize I was saying it is okay to hit me.
Basically.
That's basically what I said. And that's not technically his fault. And when I look back on his life and what he was going through, he saw that in his life growing up. We see our parents do things. So I saw adults arguing and damn near being disrespectful and calling them each other's names. And then it's like the next day, it's like, yeah, this is my bitch. This is my man. This is my husband. This is
the normal.
Wow. Yeah. This is like the norm. When I will recommend a book, which I haven't recommended a book in a while on these shows, but one of the best books that was life-changing for me was What's Normal. And a lot of people don't realize just because something feels normal doesn't mean it's healthy, because familiarity is sometimes just a comfort thing. And so getting back to the topic of what's something that you could have changed, I could have changed by having more boundaries. Like, there was a time in my last relationship where this guy kept cheating. He kept cheating. And I knew it. I was like, I should have been with her in her detective company, honey, because honey, it wasn't nothing you could put past me. Then the second time we was together, I didn't even have to snoop. And I knew, because intuitively these
are the same feelings.
Right. And so my blessing in the trials and tribulations I've been through in romantic relationships, and even some relationships in my family growing up, I developed a very sense of self, or sense of my intuition is very high. I can feel things. So I've learned today to trust it, but back in the day I didn't know to trust it. So when I would go snoop and have actual proof, solid proof, the phone call, the videos, the Google searches, the even putting stuff in the car, I had the proof and still stayed and complained. Whose fault is that? Me. That's my fault.
It is your fault. But you have to learn how to set boundaries. Like we always talk about boundaries.
Oh yeah.
There's so many that we need to. But the problem is, I guess you never realized what was unhealthy until years later. Until it started to get ridiculous.
Until it got out of hand, where I said I was aware enough to go,
because somebody's gonna be in jail. Or hurt.
Lord. It got so volatile at the end. It was like, I had like my Tina Turner moment, because it became physically abusive also. And I had my Tina Turner moment. You is not going to keep putting your hands on me. So that's the one time I would be proud.
Right.
Of being able to say, you ain't doing this today. And I was like, let's go. I remember who you are. I was Mufasa. Mufasa spoke in my ear. And it wasn't, he never did it again. That nigga was walking up that street bleeding. I didn't mean to say that. I gotta bleep that out. Can we bleep that out?
I don't know.
Would I get in trouble? Would we get in trouble for that? Yeah. I mean, it's okay, y'all. And I'm in my moment right now. I'm being transparent, damn it.
On the transparent
right.
topic.
And so, but even in that moment, I don't think the moment that you, first of all, that's dangerous too. That's another thing that you got to realize. That is so dangerous.
I mean, if you're in a physically abusive relationship.
But I didn't think nothing was wrong with that, girl. I didn't think jealousy was wrong too. Did you ever think that when a guy acts jealous, it's like, oh my God, he likes me?
No, but what it does is, for somebody like me, I'm not like, oh, that makes me feel special, but I start to feel like I can't tell you certain things. And I feel like I have to like separate what you get to be involved in my life and what you don't.
Right.
And so that's also a trap for going down the wrong road in a relationship, because you can't sustain,
No, you can't sustain if you keep stuff from each other.
Right. But if I can't tell you things, I mean, because, people are going to be people. People are going to hit on you. You're going to be out here. People are going to try to talk to you. It really just matters how you respond to them. Right. And that you're not, that you're respecting the person that you're with.
Yeah.
If they don't understand that about you, or they don't want to, they're jealous about it, and it becomes, because that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But the thing is, I've grew up, and everybody who I was around grew up around it, where you saw people fight, you saw people be disrespectful, you saw people be rude to each other, but then they were together. And so you have to do the work.
The opposite.
You had the opposite. People
like
being
I just never had. My mom was really weird about like not pushing on me, don't be touching on me, don't be hitting on me, so anything.
Well, my parents didn't fight physically. I never seen them physically hit each other, but they definitely argue. They definitely call each other. But you could never say nothing to my dad. You couldn't say nothing to my daddy, but my mama rip a hole in them in front of not everybody, but in the family,
right?
She'll cuss them out, but you can't say nothing to them. So it's kind of like that's like their weird love, right? So it's like, they're different. They work a little better now.
I don't want to talk ugly to my person.
No,
I don't want that energy.
I don't want us to ever there's nothing wrong with being angry. There's nothing wrong with being upset, to have disagreements. But I do think it's something wrong with if you're calling me a bitch and I'm calling you a broke ASSNIGGA, or I'm saying these things and now we're ripping holes in each other. I have a funny. I actually saw my ex on the highway 3-4 weeks ago, and I called him up and I told him I saw him. I blew the horn, but he didn't recognize me because I was in a different car. I was in a rental car.
What that mean? He didn't see your face?
He can't drive like that. So that's what made me notice him, because I was like, what is this person doing? He keeps swerving in the thing. Can you not see that you can't get, like if you're in the fast lane and you're trying to get around this person, this lane has to be open. But this lane, this isn't open. So the person kept switching over here to getting stuck, and they're trying to hurry up and come back. And I'm like, who is this? And then
because he can't drive.
But for years I knew he couldn't drive like that. He didn't like driving. He had anyway. And so I saw him. I blew the horn, and I didn't think he recognized me. So I called and I was like, hey, what's up? I ain't talked to him for about a year or something at this point. I was like, hey, I just saw you. That was you. I was like, yeah. And it was a good conversation. Just let me maybe 5 minutes. And I was just like, he was like, oh, well, good luck, happy holidays. I said, same to you. And I had said this really mean thing to him when we were breaking up. And I said, I just want to take it back. I'm kind of feeling embarrassed. I don't want to tell him what I said.
I want to know. I want to know what you
Well, he did. See, then I
know who he is.
I don't have to tell him. I don't have to tell what he said, what he did. No. Because what he did in the moment, it felt warranted. But I told him if he died, I would never come to his funeral. That's me. And so it started haunting me when my friend had passed. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw him in the highway, I said, this is my opportunity. And so I took the opportunity, fixed it, never talked to him again.
Good for you. Thank you. That's awesome. That's growth.
Because again, the second time around, definitely I knew who I was dealing with. I know who he is. And I know that I have a certain intuition about me where I can say, like I'm not always right. So I also have to understand that sometimes when I meet people, it could be my trauma. So I give people, it's not like the first time I feel something, I cut you off. No, I let it marinate. I let it feel. And I don't just look for feelings. I look for patterns now. And so I just have to respect my patterns and not ignore flags. That was another thing that basically what I was doing was ignoring flags.
Yeah. I'm looking for, as soon as I see the flag, you're in a category.
Yeah, flag on the plane.
How many
you're
flags
out of here.
Have we had within a short period
I hope I'm not making anybody feel any kind of way, but I want you to know that if you are in an abusive situation, there are many avenues to get out of. Do not stay because you can end up dead.
Okay.
Interact.
Mm-hmm. They're in Raleigh. It's a program that they have for abused persons, domestic situations.
Call Interact. And if you are accepting it, you could be in Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, but unfortunately they wouldn't know that.
They wouldn't, but I'm telling you, if you think, watch this podcast, that means you're in Stockholm Syndrome, you're falling in love. This is your intervention, okay? But, when I look back, I remember, it's funny, I was looking for videos in my phone for the last vision board party I had. I was looking for the old vision board party videos of all the years so I could post it. And shout out to the vision board. If you are watching this, come and check us out. Anyway, and so I was going through them and I've seen a picture of me and him laid up like this. And I remember posting that picture online. And that day before, I had a black eye. But I still posted. And you couldn't see it because I maquillage. That makeup is good, girl. You couldn't see a damn thing. But I had this black eye right here. And the reason why we were fighting was because of him cheating. I caught him.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I was like being dumb and didn't know I could fight anymore. I could fight. Like you could ask he does not deserve you. He didn't. No, I'm not with him no more. We're not together. But I'm just saying, no, any man who put their hands on you, period, is not a man. Okay. And on top of that, if the man does it and it's because of him not defending himself, I do think it's some women out here brolic enough that you probably get you. I don't know if you've seen that video on Facebook when that chick was dragging that dude. She was big, man. She had to be like 6 foot. The guy was like 5'1". She was dragging him, beating him down. And then the guy in the background recording the video, he said, "This is what she do every day." There are men who are in abusive relationships.
Poor Norbit.
And I'm laughing about it, but this is not funny. But if you're a man or woman, but more so, there are more women that are in domestic situations
that you know
of.
I'm gonna say there are men in domestic situations.
That's what I just said.
I know, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, because they was taught not to hit back.
Well, no, and they were taught not to. If you told somebody I'm getting my ass whipped every day from my girlfriend, my wife,
they're going to do this. That's not funny. We can't laugh at that. We can't laugh at that, but it is true. Like this, that is bad because what if you don't? Some people don't got it in them.
I'm not trying to laugh at people, man. Look,
listen, for real. There is some people who just don't have that in them. They don't.
Well, and you don't need to be with anybody.
You shouldn't be with nobody that do that.
Right.
But anyway, boundaries. I don't know how we got there, but
I don't know, but they're boundaries.
That is some things that I would have changed is having the boundaries, not accepting just anything, stop lying to myself. But you also got to understand this though. Let me just say this. Let me give some grace to people in these situations. There is a such thing as called love bombing. And what love bombing does.
Can I tell you about a guy that I dated?
Yeah.
I don't never tell my business.
Okay.
But at this point it is what it is.
Right.
My power has come from
back.
Being able to talk about it. So I dated this guy on and off for a little bit, and he used to ghost me. Like I've always been the ghoster. Now this is
ghosting is toxic, but go ahead.
I'm working on that.
Okay. Yeah, just tell him. I tell him.
Anyways,
I'm not interested.
We're not here talking about me. My ghosting. I was being ghosted. So sometimes when you do things and you put stuff out there, it comes back tenfold.
And
I was hurt, honey, hurt. But we would kind of go through this cycle where he would just say all the right things. He would be doing all the right things.
And you'd be like, oh my God, this is perfect.
I'm like, if this could just work out, it would just be everything that I've ever dreamed of. Oh. And motherfucker ghosted me again.
I ain't mean to laugh.
For the last time. And I said, you know what?
Then you made your boundary.
I said, I'm out. I can't do it.
How many times did he ghost you before you were like, I'm done?
20.
See, that makes me feel better. For real, because I thought you were going to say 3.
Girl, I was sick.
I thought you were going to say like 3 because I was about to say, damn, this nigga, he cheated on me like 25 times before I got the balls to be like, forget you.
No. I'm going to cut you. Don't that's not, excuse me. I would not do that. I do not believe in violence.
I don't anymore. I'm a recovered. No, I don't think that you should put
emotional
maturity.
Right. It's very important. And the love bombers and the gaslighters, that shit is crazy.
It's manipulation. And what love bombing does, unfortunately, this is why I want to say brought this up, is because it does to give people grace. When you love bomb somebody, it gives them this false hope of it being like it was when you love bombed them.
or what they think they want,
what they think
or
it could be,
because
like,
you know what that person wants out of the relationship,
right?
And you tease them with that carrot, and then you take it away.
I saw a really great video. I'll probably post it on our page to show it, but it's like, they give you all this love and then they start snatching it, and so now you become literally addicted to the love. And so because they're playing with it, like, people want what they cannot have. They want what they cannot have. And so you chase this narrative that's actually not false, because who they are when they stop love bombing you is really who they are.
Right.
I could talk about this all day, you know what I'm saying? But that's who they are, but you are so convinced that they're not, that you're hoping. And hope is good. Hope keeps things alive. But in some things you don't need hope. You need reality, which is, this is who they really are, and accept that and move on.
Right.
For sure.
Promote long-lasting positive
relationships. Right.
So I did a little research.
Okay, I want to hear you. This is our research lady. Okay.
I'm working on this, guys. Okay. So to have a really good relationship and build them, and it's just a relationship. It don't have to be a romantic relationship. Right. It could just be a friend relationship, or because
I've had some very heartbroken situations, even in friend, because how you do anything is how you do everything, and how you do everything is how you do anything. So you will attract them kind of friends too. Right. Like my friends now, like you and all these different people, they're not like takers.
Right. Everybody's bringing their own piece to the table. We're working together. We're building it. We're collaborating.
It's uncomfortable to
at times
attract new people that do these kind of things, that it's going to be on the track. Because when you're like as given as you are, I'm like, a couple times I have in my head, like, well, is she up to something? Like, you know what it is? Like, why is she so nice? No, bitch, she the same person you are. And you attract to her because you done healed from these other NIGGAs who are not givers and takers. You are in a state of life now where you are attracting what you get.
We want to prioritize growth together,
right?
Which means working on personal relationships, learn and unlearn, evolve as a team, practice daily gratitude. Acknowledge and appreciate the things, create this positive cycle.
You're the best.
Love. I know. Like my friend, I'm like, she's fantastic. Commit to honest conversations, being transparent about feelings, fears, dreams, even when it makes things a little uncomfortable.
Right.
Invest in quality time. So this is an interesting one to me. We always say that we're friends and we do things, but nobody comes and supports.
Yeah, that's weird.
What is that all about? That's
well, if they're really close friends, this is what I was taught, that people that are extremely close to you, you don't take offense to it, because number one, they might remember who you were before you started doing different things. And so that's why they don't support until everybody else supports you. And this is why you got to focus on the strangers. And then
isn't that weird though?
It's disheartening, but in life, and especially business, you got to take the emotion out, because they don't understand. You got to also give them grace, because they don't understand business either.
I understand, but what if it's not even just business? What if it's just like, coming for a birthday party or something?
Well, that's different. If they're not coming for birthday parties and stuff, something ain't right. I think maybe that's just not your friend, or maybe they have so much.
We need to have a conversation.
Yes,
something's going on.
Or if life is so life-in
all the time.
Some people, that's their world, because
but then there needs to. And who am I? I'm not trying to say anything about how anybody's be doing anything, but
that's when the conversation needs to be had.
Right. There's something going on there that you're not able to balance your life and social, like the good social relationships. If you're always so busy that you just can't dive into anything else that anybody's doing, like eventually people are going to stop supporting you.
That's very true.
Pray together, stay together. Meditate, devotionals, be each other's biggest supporter, celebrate the wins, be encouraging during challenges. This is a relationship one, letting the spark fade. So
don't let the spark fade.
Yeah.
I think even in friendships, that could be that, like how you just said, out of all the 12 months of the year, if you're like considered my friend, at least come to my birthday, or
right.
let's go have a drink for my birthday,
occasionally,
or
just get up,
share
and
time. Yeah,
and
even a FaceTime.
I'm not really good at that.
I mean, I actually I'm a hermit in some aspects. I kind of because I'm always around people every day, all day. Even in my home, I had to, I'm always around energy, and then it takes a lot to give in that energy. And so how I recharge is alone. So sometimes, it's not that I don't want to be bothered, but it's just that's my moment of recharging.
Yeah, just wore out.
Yeah, but your real friends, if in communication, if I was to be asked, like, well, Kira, well, why didn't you do this, or why couldn't you do that, or why you didn't respond to this, or what's taking you this, just ask. And I think that's something that we don't do in this generation today a lot, maybe because of social media, I don't know, is we don't communicate. We just walk around with all these hidden assumptions and not actually speaking to each other.
No, because we go
like, bitch, what's wrong? Why you ain't calling? Why you ain't doing this? What's up with you? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes those are the things that actually bring relationships closer together, where
you're like, oh, they care about me. They're actually calling and asking questions, not just assuming that because whatever I posted on social media, it seems like I'm all right.
Yeah. And you got to be also careful to not only talk to your friends and peers when things are going wrong, because then you develop trauma bonds, which is a whole nother thing. Yeah. So many people that only speak and talk when things are not good or things are happening, which is not a bad thing, because you always need your people when you are. But if it's only that, I think it's bad. Yeah. If it's only traumatic, negative stuff, I think
because eventually that person's gonna get tired of hearing that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I want to.
It affects you.
Something
right? If every time I talk to you and I'm talking to you about very low vibration activities, like when I was going through things like 5 years ago, when I was really going through the motions, I know 95% of my conversations was about my ex and about how he cheated and how he ain't shit and all this stuff. And meanwhile, I didn't know how many people I was draining in that moment. And you don't realize it until later. It's like, man, I'm sorry. I
had a friend like that, and I felt like at some point I kind of felt like talking to her about the situation was giving energy, and I almost had to keep doing it because it became like this was a cycle that I was going through. So eventually, I kind of stopped talking to her about it.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Because I'm bringing this upon myself. I keep hashing this stuff over and over and over.
And then you start worrying about the person, and then you're worried about their situation more than your own situation. I had a friend tell me once when I was with their dad, because we were going through stuff and we had a big thing in public. We were really young and stuff. And she came to my door. They seen me. I was all jacked up looking, face messed up. And she was like, I am not going to be your friend until you leave this relationship. And she left. And I respect her for it. We cool now. But looking back, I didn't understand it.
She was like, I can't take
She just can't take seeing your friend in pain and hurt. And you're
not doing anything about it. And they're trying to support you.
Right.
And a lot of times people get hurt diving into other people's situations like that.
You end up trying to break it up, and then you get thrown down the steps and you break your neck and die.
They got to kill the man.
Anyway,
I done got hurt.
I think I went totally off the tangent with this topic, but it's an important topic, because the one thing that I think we do a lot of, what I see a lot of people do, is that they don't take time to figure out, what did you do in this relationship? Mm-hmm. There was times where I feel like I was more productive and I didn't get, alone. I used to tell myself, when I'm alone, I'm more productive, right? But then that means I'm never going to be with anybody. That means I'm going to be single.
You could be right on productive,
right, by yourself. But then I realized, no, it's that when you are with someone, you are hiding. I was hiding who I am and conforming to them versus showing them, this is who I am. I'm always this productive. I'm always working. And if you don't like it, bye.
I'm not the one for you.
Right. And oil and water does not mix, but they're both very essential things, especially in the kitchen. Right. You need water to mix shit. You need oil to fry and make it lubricant or whatever. And so, but they don't mix, and that's okay, but you still need both.
Right.
They don't need to be together all the time.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Only at certain points.
Yeah. So I hope that story was inspiring to you in some form or fashion. I didn't even think we were going to be talking about all of that and me telling y'all all my business, but that's not even half, honey. I could tell y'all some stories, and maybe I will write a book on that. But my first book I ever wrote was called Marquita's Lost Diary. Is. It's on Amazon too, y'all. But it's a chapter in there where it says it's called Strings. And so, this is just made like this, but back in the day, if you saw a string like this here, you would have to cut it, because if you pulled it, it's going to
unravel your whole shirt.
The whole shirt will destroy. And so I was on a train when I wrote this, and I was telling people, like, when you start seeing the strings pop out in relationships, you need to cut them off, because now you're going to ruin the whole entire shirt. Because and it's not that serious, because I do believe we all meet each other for a reason. Like my last relationship, I went to Nigeria. I experienced a lot of great things, new cuisines, food, and that's what I want to focus on today, so that I'm not reliving the other parts that I definitely believe I had control if I would have just made the boundaries, right? That's not taking away from what was done to me. That's not giving the person a pass. Right. But it is giving me, and I hope this gives you a different perspective on keeping the power in your hands, and not because you give it away when you say this person did this, like you had no control, bitch. Yes, you did.
Don't throw your pearls to swine.
Yes, and you don't need a lot of things that we used to do in the past, which I understood, is the financial aspects of relationships. Like in the past, women weren't like able to, they weren't bosses. They weren't able to do and fend for themselves. And I get it's a lot of people out here struggling, but honey, I'm telling you, it's an excuse. If you buckle down, there are other ways to generate income than have to sit in a situation to in hopes of it, especially if this person ain't like I ain't trying to say I understand people in the Diddy situation, but this man is a millionaire, which is different than sharing space with somebody beating you behind and y'all both got a credit score of 500.
Leave. You can do bad.
You can do bad by yourself, baby. I'm trying to tell you. But anyway, we spend a lot of time on that topic, but that's a heavy one.
That's all right.
And so our next one, very important. But why do some people think breastfeeding is gross when it's a natural thing? This is so like left wing from the first topic.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
But I don't know why people think that.
What, that it's gross?
Do you think breastfeeding, it is not, everyone
say it is a natural thing.
Everyone should know it's a natural, but the way in which it's looked at, in my opinion, is as if we need to have a conversation of whether or not it's natural. I mean, that it's gross. Not gross or not. Like,
what do you think?
I breastfed both my sons. I was the woman in the I remember literally being in Macy's with Zakir. I had my baby right here on this titty, and I had a receiving blanket covering his head. It was nothing that was going to stop me from feeding my child.
That's the issue.
And I'm not going to go in no bathroom and feed my baby, because that's where y'all shit.
But the receiving blanket is, to me, where the difference is.
So do you think some people are okay with just having their titty out?
Of course they are. Obviously, this wouldn't be really a conversation if people, because
people don't really yell when they have the receiving blanket too.
Not like that though. These people, I'm talking about seeing all of your boob. I just think it's a natural thing, and that should really be like a moment between mom and baby. We're nurturing. It shouldn't be for everybody.
Now I will say this: if I am in a park with a stroller and I'm walking my baby in the stroller, I have on a spaghetti strap. My baby's hungry, right? She should have prepared. Now, if you put the baby on the titty, I think the only reason why it's so like, oh, what is she doing? Is because we are overly sexualized society.
Right, but we are.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
So
that's fair. As you should have. Now for me, I never like whipped out my titty in public. Never. Like, you might see the areola if I'm pulling it out, and if you're focused on my titty. I'm covering. My intention is to cover up my child and my breast.
Sexualized society is going to be looking for the areola.
Where in other countries they probably wouldn't even care, because some women walk around with no shirt on sometimes.
What country?
You ever be seeing when they be doing their tribal stuff in certain countries and they titties be out?
Girl, that is like
1900s, 1800s, 1700s. Am I taking this back? I'm just saying at one point you could walk around in front of people and it's not like crazy. I'm not saying that you should whip your titty out either. Let me just make sure I'm also not saying that I think the women should whip out their titties. I never did that. I pumped my milk and then I would have a receiving blanket. I mean, it's really easy to carry a receiving blanket around, but the benefits of breastfeeding, I think, is just too high to make people feel like they should be isolated from the world. Now, there is this one lady who be on TikTok and she just be having it out and the baby just be on them. Yeah. And then I do think, though, there is an age limit.
My thing was for the baby.
Yes. So again, I just wanted
we were talking about how old the baby's gonna be.
Right. I think
how old is too old to be breastfeeding?
I think that we have to look at
how old is too old to be publicly breastfeeding?
Listen to me. I think publicly and privately that the moment that your child has a full set of teeth is when you are supposed to stop nursing, because that is basically, think about nature, Mother Nature, let's stop thinking of us like we these overzealous creatures and think of us like animals. Let's go back to the animal state. A child, even in the animal, a dog is going to nurse on her mama titties until they can eat food.
Right.
Once they can eat food and they grow teeth, they don't need your titty because they can chew up the calcium and the proteins and the vitamin D and C that they need because they don't have teeth. I mean, that's the reason that they suck on the nibble, because they don't have teeth. I be hearing these women sometime, and I'm not knocking y'all if you got a 5-year-old on your titty, but I am saying that I think it's a little weird.
I have your poor nipples.
Right, because what if they bite you?
They're gonna bite you. They be hanging on it. They be hanging on it. Woo!
And so I say all of that to say that we didn't have this problem before, so
it's okay.
It's all right. But I say all of that to say that I do think once they have teeth, so a year though, I stopped nursing Zacure at about 14 months. I stopped nursing Zaire at 9 months.
I did about 6, and that was good.
Yeah, I did. And then when I weaned Zacure off of my breast, I was actually breastfeeding while I was pregnant, which all the doctors and dentists said don't do it.
I thought that was kind of a no-no.
Definitely a no-no. Why? Because when you breastfeed, it's taken away. The body is taken away, and so you would have to like really replace it. And so I told them, you can go to hell, because ain't no way I'm giving my baby that formula. Not that I'm knocking formula, because every once in a while I would use it for my mom or whoever had him if they ran out. And my mom at the time, I don't know what happened in their generation, but their generation started the whole let's not breastfeed agenda, because they used to be like, that baby ain't getting enough food. Yes, they are, because my titty is empty.
Right.
That's how you know. And the body is so amazing because it adjusts to how much they eat. Once they wean, it starts going out. And it also helps your stomach to go flatter when you're breastfeeding.
Yeah, anyway. That helps.
What do you got for us? I know you be having facts.
There's nothing exciting about breastfeeding, except for that it's natural. And, the issue is
cover up your titties.
Well, it's people sexualizing it. And it's just like any other predator with anything else. You know, you just got to watch out. And when you're in public, the predators are in public. And so you're putting yourself potentially at risk, your kid at risk. And if you want your baby to tear your nipple off, have at it. Have at it.
But anyway,
another weird show. I don't know which one this one's called, but the woman loves breastfeeding. So she breastfeeds her husband, and he drinks the milk. And
why does she like breastfeeding?
They found it as a bonding exercise.
So he drinks the milk?
Mm-hmm. He sit there and nurse on her titty.
Do they know that they can do that without the milk? But he wants the milk.
He wants to
the
do
milk.
it, and she wants to do it. So she's got the baby on one and the husband on the other. And then she kept breastfeeding. Like he was still breastfeeding, and so the milk was still coming, even though the child is like 6.
Was she still breastfeeding him at 6?
She's just continued to produce. She's just gonna produce as long as her body will let her produce.
It won't stop.
I know.
It will never stop until she stops it.
The man is sucking on the boobs enough to get enough.
But is the 6-year-old still sucking on it?
I can't remember, but it didn't matter. Yes. Niecy Pooh said yes.
Okay.
And I believe her, because I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
You are.
So they had like a kid, and then like they kind of enjoyed that together, but then she kind of let it stop, and they went back to their regular lives. And when they had the second child, they decided we don't want to stop, and so we're going to keep.
So I saw a show, not a show, but a clip, a conversation in Reddit once years ago, and the guy was being transparent about his feelings of feeling left out with the mother and the bonding of the baby, and so that could have been an option for them.
He felt left out.
Because he felt like he didn't get a chance to be with the baby. She's always with him. And then he doesn't get a chance to be with his wife because she's always with the baby. And so he was expressing it's
only for a short period of time.
True, but when I'm saying that could have been there. I'm just saying that could have been the option for him to get on the other titty. Anyway, our next topic.
Leave my titties alone.
I'm biased, but has technology helped us? Oh my God. Has technology helped us more than it's harmed us?
Both.
Why you say that?
Because without technology, we
wouldn't be able to do this.
Right. And people are super smart, and, God created us to take his things and make them fantastic and to, be awesome. I mean, we're humans for a reason. We have the highest intelligence of, any other
mammal. Do we? You don't believe in
aliens?
aliens?
I mean, if they are out there, then they're not.
But I sometimes think, though, when you say we're the smartest, I think we're the smartest and the dumbest.
Right. No, we have the potential to be the smartest.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, technology helps, but sometimes it hurts.
Yeah, I think anything with great power has a double-edged sword. Absolutely. It's going to be good. It's going to be bad. It really is the user. It's like,
right.
How are you going to use?
How about this AI music? You heard the AI music?
AI music?
Oh yeah.
I don't understand.
I forget which episode it is of the Sleuth podcast, but we talked about AI music, and they basically blend somebody's voice with another background and they just create a song. So it's almost at this point, there's no originality, right? I mean, it's all
you can do anything, but
it's like ChatGPT.
So because Chat, they have, I see you had a Canva thing. So I just learned about GPTs and how you can add them, and create anything on there. I even saw something about a PowerPoint. Here I am doing the whole PowerPoint from scratch.
All you got to do is say, create me a PowerPoint with this, you can put in your information.
But music is different. Music is like, I feel like music is something that has to come from the soul.
Not anymore. Nope. All you got to do is put in the button.
And I love ChatGPT. I love AI. It helps me to be more efficiently faster. However, I do believe there are some things that should not be AI generated in the creative world. But, I do think that it has helped us more than it has harmed us. But I think that's as an overall. But I think individually where it has hurt us is that I think it's stripping us away from the community aspect of conversations and communication. I think a lot of people hide behind it, but I can't say if it's the majority or if it's just certain groups. But I feel like the more people are locked into social media 24/7 all day, every day, are usually the less productive people. And the high performing people usually have time away from it, even though it's like, and like, for example, like a Jay-Z, not to bring him up because he's in the news, but he is in the news. But like Jay-Z didn't have an Instagram account until like 3 months ago.
Wow.
Certain people that I would never think take time to meditate are like these people that you're watching on TV, but they don't have the time. They take time out to do things that are not online.
Mm-hmm.
And like Denzel had this incredible. Have you seen Gladiator yet?
No,
I haven't either.
I heard it's great.
I love the first one.
Yeah.
I am Maximum Aurelius. Oh, something of the slave. He went up there and then beat his, and then he stabbed him. Anyway, punk. Yeah, anyway. So like Denzel talked about it, like he feels sorry for a lot of our future generation because they don't really understand the world without it.
Mm-hmm.
And the world without it, I mean, man, it was just certain things that you just knew, like when to come in the house. You know, I don't need to call you and text you to when to come in the house, nigga. You know, I mean, baby, you know you're supposed to be in this house. I gotta stop saying that word.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the light, you know, the street lights and
the street light means you're supposed to come.
You
when the street light come on, that means you was already supposed to be in the house.
My mom didn't let me out anyway. So.
Yeah, mine said she used to keep me in prison. That's why I had them babies. I'm trying to tell you. She let my sister go out and stuff. See, she had her babies in the 30s.
See, mom.
Mom, it's your fault. I'm just kidding. Girl, you put your legs up and now you want to blame me. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
But I mean, without technology, we wouldn't be able to work remotely. I mean, so there are a lot of
very
positive things.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that you can connect with that you would never know. Like there are people who watch this podcast. As one of our biggest fans is from Pakistan. But he loves our podcast. I know another friend, Ashton. I'm going to meet you one day. He lives all the way in Uganda. He's been following me even before Z Truth. But I met him through social media. Okay. And so technology connects you to the world. And just remember, though, it's not everything.
Us globally, but isolated emotionally.
Yeah, that's what it did. It does that for people because we never had in our generation people growing up killing themselves. No, I never heard of a teenager growing up that they killed themselves.
No, it's so sad.
It is.
Okay, so did you allow the kids to be on social media early?
No. And then when our kids became when my kids became 14, and shout out to D, when we was together, we made a rule that if you're going to pick a social media platform, you had to pick one. And then the one, we had to follow each other. Right. And then we had to see what you had up there. We never allowed neither one of them to have something like Thug Life 50-50, 100 grand. I shoot up the house. Shoot up your, it had to be something that was positive in your message. You cannot be out here showing things that were not a way in which we were that they were being raised. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, we have rules. You have to create rules of social media. Another thing, like parents cannot let your kids be raised by a tablet.
Right.
I don't use tablets in my daycare. When my parents send their tablets, I send it back home. Right. Because they don't need,
Why would a child at your daycare need a tablet?
Right. Like, what are we doing? Just going to stare at the wall? I stare at the text. So listen, if this thing got you addicted, imagine what it's going to do to a child. And so so when I turn off the TV and you turn off, I use a TV for educational purposes at my daycare. But then when I turn on just the music to let them play, it's amazing what they do. Mm-hmm. They build the blocks. They be like, Miss Kira, this is aviation towers. Right. And they come up with all these amazing ideas. And what the tablet does, it takes away from the ability to think. And so, again, it's just like a double-edged sword. Yes, it's ways to teach your kids with the tablets and stuff like that. But then they get access to all of these worlds that they're not ready for.
Right.
And so that's where I think but I do think it is very, very positive. I think it is a lot of advantages of having the technology and social media. But I also think that it has to be monitored with care.
Right. Piece of technology you can't live without.
That I can't live without.
That you could not live without at this point. Doesn't have to be your phone or anything like that, but
that I can't live without.
Those are nice.
I don't think there's anything I can't live without, except for water. That might be the politically correct thing to say, but
water's not tech.
Oh, I'm just what I'm saying, but like, Like the phone, my phone is essential. It's very essential, right?
Right.
But even in business, if I had to, I think probably the phone, it would be hard for me to live without in regards to business. An app?
Yeah. What's an app that you know, that makes your life a lot easier? Mine is my calendar.
That makes my life easier.
Yeah. Without my calendar app, I'd be lost. Everything I do is on my calendar, down to like.
See, I'm a grandma. I got the calendar on my refrigerator.
I'm not always at home. What if I need to know?
See, I'm always at home. I'm most of the time at home. But I would say the app is probably, because of the nature of the businesses that I do, is social media, like my Facebook, my Instagram. Facebook and Instagram are my jams. But I will say that if you took this phone from me and threw me out in the streets, I would figure out how to do business. Because at one point, I see a person who's never had an experience doing guerrilla marketing and all that stuff. Like, I used to pass out flyers, thousands of them,
I know,
and got business that way. But the reason why I say the phone, because when I pass out the flyer, then you had to call my phone.
Right.
So I need my favorite app is the phone. Phone app. This one right here.
Call app.
This call app. That's the call app. So I think if anything, it would be the phone. And the reason for that, because most of the things we can do now, you don't even need a laptop. You don't need a MacBook. It's just more convenient, you know, to do certain things on a bigger screen. And there are some limitations to the phone, but I would say the phone. What about you? The calendar, you said. My
calendar app, and probably my lane, my thing, when I put my clicker on and it lets me know that somebody's in my blind spot.
On your car?
Yeah.
Oh, that is cool. I don't have that. Not yet. When I rent a car, I'll be like, oh, it just told me somebody just went back.
Oh,
and then the other
nice.
I like the other new technology where when you cross on the line, it shakes.
Oh, I don't like that.
You don't like that?
Lane assist. Cut that mess
I like that.
I know
think
what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm over here for a reason. Okay? Because there's somebody over here that is too close to me.
But I think it's kind of remarkable that that's how far we
Isn't that cool?
That's really cool.
Well, and you know, Tesla's driving itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now I understand how they could drive themselves, because if regular cars have that makes sense. So,
but see, Teslas don't work if there are no lines marked. See, there's always a fallback to
a fallback to the traditional.
Right.
Yeah.
You just need to know how to drive your car in between.
Like, I feel bad for this new generation that never got to experience driving the stick.
I don't know how to drive a stick.
You don't?
Girl, no, I want to learn so bad.
So Mr. Hopkins, shout out to him. That's my kid's father's grandfather. They dad tried to teach me how to drive a stick, and he just kept yelling. So I don't do well with yelling. Mr. Hopkins got in that car, honey. He went just like this. And ain't say a word, but I knew the concept of it. But it's not hard, but you feel like you are controlling the car for real. But anyway,
gears and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's really, really, really amazing. Now with the new year coming, and I mean the new year here, what do you think? This is our thought-provoking moment. Do you think a New Year resolution is a good thing, bad thing, or indifferent?
I guess indifferent or both. Is that an option?
Yeah. I think that the only part of it that's bad is if you thought that resolution before the ball dropped and you waited until the ball dropped.
So what now?
So if you have something like you want to lose weight and then you wait until January 1st,
no.
I don't think that you're actually going to do it, because you're waiting for a date when in reality, if you think about how time works, that doesn't make sense. If you feel you need to lose weight right now,
needs to be starting now.
Right. Whether it's just taking a stroll outside, drinking more water, cutting out something. If you don't make, because I think that
that's super ambitious, right? And you're probably going to fail, because how can you decide at 11:59?
This is when I'm going to start. That doesn't make sense. No, if you want, I put on my page like right before New Year's, like, listen, if you want something to happen and you are thinking about it, you have to start right now. If you don't start now, you have a 48-hour window to an idea. When you have a thought, a thought is in the air, you got 48 hours to act towards it, or it's going to leave you. It's going to go to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I do believe that it's a good thing for someone who doesn't do goal setting, but ultimately you should be having resolutions every month. It should not be just the beginning of the year, and you should not be waiting.
Right. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So it could, but again, I do think that it can be a good guideline, but I believe in goal setting is a monthly, weekly, daily thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a one-time thing. And in that moment, if you're waiting for a date like that, like even birthdays, if people are like, oh, I'm gonna start this on my birthday, it's not if you feel it now. I'm trying to think of reasons why you would wait for a goal, except for if you can only do it on that day, you know.
Well,
but
I think in their mind, you feel like, okay, I need a start date, you know, and to do it today, I'm not ready, you know. So if I make, it's almost like a trap. Because it's more than likely it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you got the start date.
And they said most resolutions fizzle out by February.
Yeah, so you've
done nothing.
So from January to I think March is the highest ratings of gym memberships. They go through the roof.
Right. All the people in
those 3 months. Everybody in there, new me, new body, new me. But see, the reality is you're because you waited and not took time to figure out your why. Is why you're waiting, because you don't have a real reason except for it's the beginning of the year and you know that you were supposed to do this last year. But the reality is that if your why is not established, you're not going to have a reason for the moments when you don't want to do it, because you're not going to feel like doing it all the time. When I get up in the morning to work out, it's not because I always want to do it. It's because I feel like I have to do it and I just paid his ass. So I really
I need to be there.
I know thyself. So that's why I invest in it, because I want the results, but I know it's hard for me to get up, but not when I done paid you that money.
I'm there.
The
best accountability partner.
Exactly.
But sometimes people don't care about the money and they waste the money and don't show up.
That's then that's when you got to learn self, because God always used to hit me when he wanted to teach me a lesson in my pocket. That's how he would get me, for real. Right. Exactly. That's God. Is that God popping in?
Yes.
Seriously, he would get me in my pocket. And that's how I would immediately know that I need to pause and think, like my speeding time. When I was talking about the speeding, I didn't really see it as a problem until I sat down and did my budget that month. And I looked at the bills and how much I'm investing just to speed. And I'm like, nah, bruh, you ain't getting these coins. I work hard for this money.
Slow lane.
Right.
And
I have him driving, by the way, in the middle lane, but that junk is frustrating. I do be driving fast, but I have gotten better. I've gotten better. You saw her eyes. Look at her.
Oh,
I was worse. Anyway, but then I'm saying that to say that I do think it's a good place to start, but you should be right. So I'm gonna tell you my method real quick. I know we kind of getting over, but I write my goals down most of every month, and then I break it down in my notebook on what I need to do, to activities, which help me know what to do for the week.
Right.
And when you do that, it literally increases your chances of accomplishing that goal over 48%. Well, let's just say 50%. And the crazy part is only 2% of the world do this. No, I mean 5, not 2. 5,
still not enough.
5% of the world don't write goals down. And you know, I'm not perfect. Every month I don't do it. Like when I looked up on a thing, I realized I didn't do it for the month of December, but I looked at it and like, okay, I crossed out November, but December, because there was like 4, but I crossed out what I did do. But then when you realize though, you know, if you do it all the time, you're going to be invincible in creating really the life you want and actually accomplishing the goal. But the reality is, if you're waiting, you're probably going to last for 3 months,
if that.
Right.
So, you know, specific goals, instead of picking like I need to lose 30 pounds by January 31st, you know, just say I want my health to be better, and be like you were saying,
and add a number,
break that down,
right?
If so that you can decide what that looks like, or if you want to be creative, or I want a different adventure, and I don't want to have to be like, okay, I'm going to Thailand, and be like, because I don't get to Thailand now, I'm a failure. No, your adventure could be going on a hike or going to the mountains or just taking a random trip to the beach or something like that.
Right. The more specific the goal, the more likely you'll
You're
create it. Because when you say, you got to think of it really like the genie in the bottle, and think of God, the world as that, right? I want, if, God knows what you want, right? But when you're more specific, it's a call that is made. There is a connection that is made. Then when you take it and write it, there's a commitment that happens in the spirit when you connect it to paper.
Right.
Kind of think of it like to-do list or a grocery list. Whenever I write a grocery list out and I go to the grocery store and I forget it, anytime I forget it, I still remember. It's more likely I remember what was on the list.
Right.
Because I actually wrote it down.
Yeah.
There is something that happens. And so
I can write my list, but then I don't need it anymore.
Right. I write the list and then I forgot the list somewhere in the car, in the house. But because I wrote it, it's more likely that I'm going to remember the actual things that are on the list. Right. But then when you are specific, then it makes sense to your plan. Because if your goal is only to lose 5 pounds, your plan is going to be different if it's really 50 pounds that you need to lose.
Right.
A 50-pound weight loss goal requires more discipline than a 5-pound goal.
I was about to say.
Yeah, that's my goal. I want to lose a total of about 45 pounds.
Okay.
Not in a month, but, No. Yeah, but to look at that goal, that means you have to cut out a lot. There's, not like, you don't have to be as aggressive as me, but, still.
So I'm a cold turkey kind of girl too, though.
Yeah, like I gotta get in it. And once I'm in it, I'm locked in. Cold turkey as well. Yeah, it's kind of like you just.
Cold turkey. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
just stop it all.
Right. You just stop, boom, this is what I'm doing for this amount of time. And when you are specific, it makes it more clear. You have clarity, and that way you don't attract what you don't want.
Right.
If you say, I just want love, now you might attract some love.
You got a fool.
That's a fool that loves you. Right. Now I need an emotionally stable man who's financially stable, that understands how to communicate, willing to, be very specific, and even your mates, which I got to work on that too. But, be specific in everything that you are trying to accomplish. And if you're making resolutions and that's your first time goals, shout out to you. But just know that
it's on progress,
right? Daily, weekly, monthly progress. Because slow motion is better than no motion, for sure. And for our last topic, which sugar versus crack.
Now I had to work. I was like, is this a thing somewhere?
Yeah. So this is where the background comes from. Okay. I was watching this documentary a long time ago about these mice. And I don't even know if I might have mentioned this on the podcast at one point, but these mice had a 90-day experiment. The first 30 days, the scientists gave the mice cocaine.
Dang. Why do they do the animals like that? That's wrong.
This is to prove which one is stronger. Then they gave the animals sugar for 30 days. Mm-hmm. And then in the beginning of the third month, they gave them a choice. Every single mouse picked sugar. And so I say that to say we are still in the state of the Daniel fast. And one of the things that I noticed when you do the Daniel fast, because sugar is one of the things you can't have, when you flip over the vegan wheat wraps and the vegan this thing and the dumbest thing that you would never think has sugar. Everything. And so it makes me think of, have you ever seen the Flowers in the Attic movie? Okay, well, there's a part of the movie where this woman, she's a psycho. She wants to marry this rich man. He don't want kids. So she hides the kids in an attic. And every time she would feed them, they would sprinkle powders of poison on the food to try to make them die. So one of the kids died. The other two didn't die. But it reminded me of that moment when they realized that the sugar wasn't powdered sugar, it was poison. And so you're sprinkling sugar in everything in the American diet. And this is why kids are so addicted to the chicken nuggets, and they don't want real chicken. They don't want real food because you're literally pumping them with sugar. And so That's why I wanted to bring that up,
and
because
it's marketed as a source of happiness, comfort, and celebration.
Wow.
Tied to childhood memories and holidays.
That's fucking.
I mean, if you think about, like, I don't eat any of the stuff that we eat for Thanksgiving and Christmas, like, on a regular basis.
No, we don't.
But
like stuffing and
honey,
it's so good.
Shout
though.
out to my child's grandmother. She made the best plate. Literally, as soon as I put the fork down, I was asleep.
And honestly, the funny thing is, so that's a sign that the food isn't healthy, because if it makes food is supposed to be fuel.
It's supposed to make you get.
It's supposed to make you get up and do stuff, and it vitalize you. But if you like this,
girl,
that means that you are eating stuff. My yams for Thanksgiving was too sweet.
Oh,
I knew they was too sweet.
Sometimes them things will kill you.
Yeah, that one I ain't even gonna lie. And I used raw sugar, and that shit still was too sweet.
Yeah, you just had a lot going on.
Everybody loved them. All my kids already, they're like, oh, I love them things. Was what's they called? That was smack or something. She said, busting. That's it. That was busting, but it's also busting your health,
busting your gut.
Yes, it's busting your gut. And so and then if you eat a pineapple, a fresh pineapple, or a mango, right, or a strawberry, some of them. But really pineapple, mango, the amount of sugar that's in bananas, apples, the amount of sugar in these natural things
is what you need.
That's the sugar you need.
You don't need that.
You don't need all that other stuff. And it occasionally, like say if all year you ate clean and then on Thanksgiving we eat like that, that's not a bad thing. But some folks, I don't know how people drink Dunkin' Donuts. Do you drink Dunkin' Donuts?
Not anymore.
I used to drink it.
I did too. But no sugar though, just the cream.
No, girl. I used to get like their mixed drinks.
Oh no.
So I had a mixed drink last month. My son came in. I guess whatever he ordered came with the drink. Mm-hmm. So he was trying to give me the iced coffee. He don't drink iced coffee. And I was like, I'll just taste it. Girl, when I tell you, I said, it was like,
sugar shakes.
Yes, it was like an instant rush of adrenaline in my body. And then I'm just like, nah. And then literally whenever I treat my kids, the daycare kids, to something that I know that I shouldn't be giving them, which is very rare. I don't give the kids sugar like that. But let's say if it's a birthday, or if I'm excuse me, I didn't mean to burp. If it's a birthday or what have you, they start acting crazy. They'll be jumping off, like it's really, they're hyper because of the sugar. So,
and when you have that boost like that, that's never good.
No,
and
because
then you won't crash.
I just about to say, whatever comes, the only thing I said in that moment when they were eating the cake, I said, whatever goes up must come down. And then about 30 minutes later, that's how they all look.
Yeah. Drained.
But anyway, I wanted to we bring these topics to not to just make you feel bad about the plate that's in front of your body. I mean, in front of your mouth, for real. Because I love food and I enjoy food, but I don't enjoy cancer. I don't enjoy seeing people having heart attacks. I don't enjoy people having high blood pressure, overweight, can't walk up the steps. It's people who are 90, 80 years old and they can walk up a flight of steps and I'd be like,
right. And here you are 40.
And we can't even move. Right. And so it's not to be the party pooper, but to be you should be pooping too.
Regularly.
After every meal.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Anyway. I enjoy elimination.
Me too. It's a good thing. Because for real, if you don't shit, excuse my French, but if you don't, it's going to come out your skin. You ever see people with blackheads and bumps and stuff? That shit.
It's toxins.
It's shit because it's in your body and need to get out. Okay?
It's waste.
So we don't mean to be like the party poopers, but the reason we have the reason why this podcast, I really take time to podcast is because I want to be a voice of reason to people and give you the absolute truth and nothing but the truth. So help us all. Yes. Help us God. Okay.
Yes.
But anyway, we're going to get out of here. Again, I know already. Don't forget to follow Jamie on IG as well as the Sleuth Podcast, also on Instagram.
We have to change that. It's actually the Sleuth _ podcast. Just
It-
by the
the
way,
whole
if
thing?
you guys can't find it.
Oh shoot. Okay,
I
hold
thought
on.
it looked a little weird. It's
Sorry.
okay, but it's the Sleuth _ podcast.
We're gonna do it right here.
Yes.
Yep.
And catch us on all the podcast players. And then, of course, if I can help you guys, with any personal situations, Blackman Detective Services is here to.
If he cheating, call Jamie.
And it doesn't have to just be cheating. It's all kinds
If
of
he's
things.
stealing, call Jamie.
No,
if
call the
she,
police.
if you think she's trying to extort you, call Jamie. Yeah. That one. That one. Anyway, also shout out to Relax Tuina Spa. I've been sponsoring them for a little bit. And they don't renew this be last sponsor. But anyway, shout them out and definitely shout out to them. They haven't really, honestly, the reason why I was promoting them is because I really feel like they do an amazing job. They really help your body. So they're right there in Litchford Village in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then the best of the best trainer on the planet. Shout out to James. And I think that's how you spell it. That's Sanders? Looks weird.
There's no S.
Sanders.
There's no S.
Sander. His name is Sanders. Okay.
There should be an S.
There should be an S.
Make gains.
Anyway, make gains and not excuses. The best of the best trainer on the planet. All I know is my abs are trying to pop out. And so if you want to get somebody, and I can afford the investment, get James on your side.
Does he have, can I ask a question? Does he have online options as well as in person, or do you have to come in person with him?
That I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I will get that answer.
Some trainers, have options.
Yeah.
Does he do meal plans and stuff like that too? Or just
what he does is he gives you like a recommendations on what you need for the exercise. Okay. Like now I'm on creatine.
Okay.
What pre-workout to use, but far as meal prep concerned, he tells you in the beginning he is going to go to school for nutrition, but he doesn't want to give meal preps until he does that.
Well, you can always check out your episode with what's the man's name, talking about the different
Rashane. Yes, Rashane. I think I'm saying his name. He said I say it like his.
You said it right.
He said I say it like his folks.
And that's all.
Well, Rashane Deloach, he actually is a trainer as well. He goes into more specifics. He actually is a gentleman who beat cancer. Mm-hmm. He's been married for 20 years and a awesome dad. Anyway, Rashane Deloach, check him out as well if you need nutritional
background. He broke down the whole creatine.
He did, and I actually changed my new batch because of him.
Nice.
It wasn't the worst. I didn't have the worst, but I had
but there's the right one. I forget what he called it.
Meta blah blah. That
one.
Anyway, we're gonna get out of here until next time. Thank you. Follow us on Apple Music, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram. However, the full episodes are on YouTube. So please do us a favor. If you liked anything in this show,
should be everything.
Yeah, I'm about to say supervisor. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, love peace, and hair grease. Bye. Good night.
Thanks for tuning in to the Z Truth Podcast. We hope today's episode gave you value and something new to think about. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and join the conversation by following us on all platforms. Sharing is caring, so do us a favor and share it with someone who needs to hear the truth.